You are listening to the Schmooze! Hi! So, what are we going to talk about today?
Today we are talking about Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah, let's talk about her. About the series, but mainly Anne. I think.
Yeah. There was it came out when I was a kid, and in a culture that was dominated by American programs. This was like we're sitting and we're watching. And we're like, oh, Canadian! This is what it means to be Canadian. Oh, yay! And it was like this, Canadian pride thing. That you could, you had something Canadian, and until this day, I have this dream. I want to go to PEI and find Avonlea and find Anne of Green Gables. Just to say that I was there, just to say, oh my God, this place actually exists. Yay.
Yeah.
What did you like about Anne?
Wow. First of all, I always loved redheads. I always dreamed that I would be a redhead.
You were a redhead for many years.
Yeah, but it's not natural.
Oh, no, don't tell anybody.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I could, I dyed my hair with henna and I made it red, and it really looks good on me.
It does, yeah.
So it looks like that's the way I was born. And what I like about her redheadness, like it's not true that all redheads are like really that those are their traits,
right?
But like they stumble into things, they get into mischief, they especially Anne. I mean, she does so many mistakes, and some of them she regrets, and some of them she's like, no, I'm going to own this mistake.
Right.
This is my way of doing things.
Right.
And you stand out when you're a redhead. And that's something that the series shows a lot. And you can either choose to say, okay, I don't want to stand out, I want to try and be as normal as everybody.
Right.
Or you say, the heck with that, and I'm just going to be who I am.
Right.
And I think that's maybe the process that she goes through during the series.
It was also like breaking boundaries. Here's this orphan that she had absolutely nothing going for her. She had no money, no status, no privilege, no parents, and yet she manages to make something out of herself once she's given that foundation of a home.
I think even before. I mean, she cultivates her literature. She loves reading. In the first scene, she is like lost in the woods, lost in a poem, and she gives herself that liberty to really give to herself, to indulge in something that she loves. And I think that's something that as we grow up, we kind of tend to lose that or push it aside because there's so many things that are more important to do. We have to worry about our kids. We have to worry about our house. And you see it with all the older person around her, that they're very down to earth, very down to business. We have to do this and that. These are the chores. And she says, like, no, there's more to life than your chores. There's so much more. Life could be so rich. Mm-hmm. I love that about her.
Yeah. and you see like the simple-minded people of Avonlea, the minute she had higher aspirations than anything that was considered normal at that time. You're putting on airs, and you think too much of yourself, and but she had that dream, and she wasn't ready or willing to settle for mediocre. And I think that's so amazing. That's so admirable. How many times do we just say, okay, fine, I'll settle so that I don't stand out, like you said, or so that I'm not shining my bright light. Sometimes we're so afraid of that bright light that we have, that we dim it, and we're like, okay, I'm content to be normal.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And she was able to go so far and do so much, even if she wasn't a real person. I like to think that she was.
Yeah.
But she just, the minute she had boundaries and dreams, she was able to push through those boundaries and get to where she wanted to go.
Right.
That's awesome. That is amazing. Um, there's also a lot of body image. We were discussing this before we went on the air. She hates herself. It took
Yeah.
her a long time to think that she was pretty. She hated her red hair. She always imagined that she had um, rose leaf complexion, and she called herself Cordelia. Um, and I think that was just like a very important message that we all have to hear, that you're okay how you are, that you're okay how you look, and even with your ugly red hair, you're still beautiful. And it took her a long time to find that.
Yeah. Where she dyes her hair.
Ah!
Oh my God. Oh my
my
God.
gosh. That beautiful red hair, and then you see it green. Oh my God. That was terrible.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, no.
I think that symbolizes a lot of like what we see today, like on Instagram and on other social media, where like people put on all kinds of filters,
Okay.
and they don't show themselves as they are. And it's like, I need this to look gorgeous. I need this to look better. And we're always trying to improve ourselves. And sometimes we can even buy into it that, whoa, it's working.
Right. Right.
I look so good in a cartoon.
Right. You don't have that cartoon filter on your app?
Yeah.
It's becoming a problem. I've heard from like plastic surgeons. They want these young girls come to them, and they say, oh, we want you to fix here and fix here and fix here, and so that they look like this comic character. And they're not giving themselves and their bodies a natural chance to grow and develop into who they are and who they're supposed to be, and
definitely,
and see the beauty of who they really are.
Yeah. So when Anne dyes her hair green, then she talks about a vanity. Right. And that's really deep. Trying to be something that I'm not,
right,
has to do with vanity, I think.
And insecurity.
Yeah. When I was in the States, I saw women with these huge butts that they were like sculpted butts.
I like big butts.
So unnatural. And you see, this is plain surgery, and
why would you want to make your butt bigger?
Because there's some kind of like beauty ideal, that cartoonish beauty ideal. Okay. And I don't understand why people want to look like a cartoon. No. But it has to do really with feeling unwhole with yourself, right? And like you're not good enough as you are,
right?
And I do understand people go into surgery to things that, okay, if like you have like a huge nose and you want to make it a little bit smaller, I can understand that.
Right.
But even then, I would go to as much natural look as possible, right, and not try to make my nose some kind of like from a comic book or something like that, There's a fine line.
Right,
I mean, plastic surgery is definitely something good for people who were born less with advantages or stuff like that. Right. And there are things that can be corrected and mended, and that's a good thing.
Right. Right.
Not everybody received a really nice face. Some people are ugly, okay. But a lot of ugliness has to do with the way you perceive yourself.
That's true.
That's definitely true. And I know that also, like with people, when you meet people, sometimes you can see somebody and like from the first sight, you say, oh, this is an ugly person. And then when you start talking to them and they have like a personality that shines, and you say, I don't remember why I thought she was ugly.
Right. I think it has a lot to do with, having self-acceptance and being accepted and being loved. The minute she got love, the minute Anne got love, and it was poured onto her by Matthew.
Matthew.
Oh, he
definitely.
was such a morte.
Oh. Sweet Matthew.
Mamash.
Yeah,
He was such a good
reminds
guy.
me of my father.
Yeah, in what way?
Yeah. The sweetness, the really accepting you for who you are, and never anything said in a harsh tone. That was saved for Marilla. And I remember once a talk I had with my dad, and he said, "Why are you behaving like a Satan to your mom?
Oh,
I know you can be an angel. You're an angel with me."
Oh. Wow.
And that was like seeing the good in you.
Right.
And Matthew really took to her from the beginning.
Yeah.
And he had this really loving side that sometimes he wasn't even permitted to show.
Right.
Because Marilla is so strict. Let's talk about Marilla. What do you think about
Let's
her?
talk about Marilla. I think that she was part of a generation that wasn't really allowed to express emotion. That, my grandparents also, like previous generations, that you didn't really talk about how are you feeling today. It was, we have to survive. We have to put bread on the table. We have to plow the fields. We have to, I don't know. But we weren't really in touch with our emotions. And only now, I think, you have that space to be able to explore your emotions. And I think that's also the magic of Anne. She was able to say, I'm feeling ... And she was able to express it. But people who weren't able to express it, people who didn't grow up with it, they were afraid of expressing what they're feeling. Mm-hmm. Because you're wasting time. You have to put food on the table. You have to, I don't know, go hunt or something. But the minute you can express who you are and what you're feeling, what you're doing, that just gives you another dimension of yourself, I think.
I think that it was good for Anne to be raised by Marilla.
Yes.
Because of her putting very strict boundaries, that's where creativity comes in.
Yes. Totally. The more strict the boundaries are, the more creative you get. Totally.
Yeah.
Got it. Totally.
It did not turn Anne off. On the opposite, I mean, she had to a lot of challenges to face, but her creativity grew there.
Right.
And I think Marilla is very strict, but she's not bad.
No,
love. She does have love underneath that.
Yeah. She says in one of the scenes, she says, after Matthew dies, she says, never think that I loved you any less than Matthew. It was just like under that crusty surface.
Right.
And once you broke through of that, there was this beautiful woman there that she herself had never married either. She never had children of her own. She never had a family of her own. So she never had that outlet to express herself to also.
Right.
You know who I love? I love Rachel Lynde.
Me too.
She is such a classic yenta. And if I was going to put a play, either of Anne of Green Gables or Fiddler on the Roof, I would be the yenta. I would be Mrs. Lynde, because that's just, oh my God, they've cast me. This is me, and she, also Mrs. Lynde, she at first, when she meets Anne, she's like, oh, you're ugly and you're redheaded and you're this, all of which, was true in Anne's eyes. But she was very outspoken, very, very outspoken. She said what she wanted, did what she wanted. And she always, oh God, this is where the mirror looks back at me.
What, do you spy on people too?
No. Like, oh, yes. I am a certified yenta and I need help. But like when you see, I think my mom says it, that when you look at somebody and you see a characteristic trait that you don't like, you have it in yourself. And what I don't like about Rachel Lynde is the fact that she's all, hoity-toity and, oh, I know better than you and everything. So I'm like, oh no, oh no. This is what we have to work on.
Yeah.
It's interesting the things that come up and the direction. We never know where this is going to go. We never know
Right.
where this is going to take us and what this is going to bring up, what memories or what things this is going to bring up for us. We never know where we're going to go or how we're going to get there or where we're going to end up.
Right.
Let's talk about Gilbert.
Okay.
How much did you love him? How much did you just love that character?
Oh my God.
Like if Anne was like this creative whirlwind of energy, he was just so good.
Yeah.
You just wanted Gilbert in your life.
Yeah. Nice, stable girl, Gilbert.
Yes, such a good boy. You know, like he did everything for her, and he never gave up on her. That was so beautiful. Like throughout the years, like she was sometimes very awful to him.
Yeah,
And
definitely awful.
She was awful to him, yeah, and he just never gave up on her. You know, even when he asked her to marry her and she said no, he waited 2 years and he asked her again. I mean, whoa, like wow. I remember when Jonathan Crombie, the person that played Gilbert originally, he died, and I was just like, what? He died? No, he can't be dead. No. I was so sad.
Yeah.
And he died young. He was, I think, roughly our age.
Wow.
Like he died 10 years ago. So it was like, you know, he died in his 30s, 40s. It was just like, he was such a good guy, like such a good character. And if, you know, you could have somebody as steady and
patient,
and
loving no matter what.
Yes. Yes.
But do you think there's really love like that? Do you think it portrays something true or not?
Oh my God, good question. What do you think?
I think that anything in life has back and forth.
Right.
And I'm not quite sure that, you know, any one person could be so steady about love, being rejected over and over and over.
Right.
We don't see the emotional stuff that happens to Gilbert when he's rejected. We just see his comebacks.
Right.
I don't remember him like being really upset about Anne, maybe disappointed, but not like, okay, you find yourself somebody else or something like that.
In the books he was.
In the books he was.
But,
yeah.
You know how you always look at your neighbor's lawn? I heard a great saying. You always look at your neighbor's lawn and you're going, oh, the neighbor's lawn is greener than mine. Everybody's lawn is greener than mine. Let's be honest here. But somebody said, the greener your neighbor's lawn is, it means there's more garbage underneath to keep it green. I love that. That is just like, you know, puts everything into perspective. Wow. Do I believe in love like Anne and Gilbert's? Wow. I think that we were only shown like the good stuff, like you said. Later on, did you ever read Anne's House of Dreams or Anne of Ingleside? So later on, they get married, and they Gilbert becomes a doctor, and he and Anne disagree over a patient very strong, and I think that's like one of the only times you see them disagreeing very strongly. It would have been nice to see like the ups and downs of that relationship, you know, see how they're arguing, what they argue about, how they make up.
Yeah.
But I guess in theory, I believe in it.
Okay.
I want to believe in it.
We all want to believe in it. It makes us feel good.
Yeah. You know, let's talk about all the drama that happened in that series.
Whoa.
You know, she was very dramatic.
Yeah. And I don't know if every woman is like that. I mean, there's some more down to earth, like Marilla. She doesn't, even when she's moved, she's not very moved. It's like the needle doesn't shoot to the other side of the scale.
Right.
But a lot of women that I know, and me myself, tend to go dramatic about life.
Me too. Totally.
And I realized that being over dramatic, it could be really harmful for you.
Oh, yeah.
in so many ways, because first of all, for your inner peace. So like anytime something happens that it's out of the way you thought it should be, then it's like disaster area, and it like wrecks your day or wrecks a few hours
Right.
of your day. And when you look at it like with your mind's eye, if you manage like for a few moments and
Like
you
to
like
separate.
oh, this is really a little thing.
Right.
I just broke a nail or
Oh
something, you know, and you try and put it into proportion, and then
Right.
you can calm down sometimes.
Right.
But maybe we really need drama. Maybe there's some part of us
That's interesting.
that like, maybe it's like the actor in us. Maybe it's like, how do you say in English, halpatkan?
The
Adventurous part of us, that we want to feel like we're in like this kind of a story, that it's exciting.
Wow. Isn't that right?
And that's why we tend to go to the drama in the first place, because we want to live an exciting life.
Oh, interesting thought. I know with myself, people always see me, oh, you're so happy all the time and whatever. And what people don't realize is that you can be the happiest person and go way, way up, but you can also go way, way down. And when you go down, there is that black hole, and it threatens to pull you under and pull you in and keep you there. Yeah. And all around you just see this blackness. So in terms of like mood swings, and sometimes like you said, it's like a little thing. Sometimes it's a big thing,
right?
But the happiness I love. I love being up on the cloud. But the lows, and people don't see that. People don't see those lows. People don't see. Sometimes it's a struggle to get out of bed.
Right.
Open my eyes, say thank you.
Yeah.
And people don't see that. And I think the balance is where I would love to be, but the knowledge that I have the high can sometimes bring me out of the low. Like I know where I want to go. The fact that I might not be there right now.
Right.
The fact that it might take time.
Yeah. I think it's important also to know how to be in a low.
Right.
Because
how would you be in a low?
First of all, I allow myself to be in a low. And I allow myself to stay in bed on days that I feel that's the only thing I'm going to do today.
Right.
And I let everybody know that I'm now incapable of doing pretty much everything.
Right.
Somebody else should do it, not me.
Totally.
And I think just acknowledging it and letting it be there, even bodily, just to listen to my body and feel where things are tight right now, where I feel afraid or where I feel sad, and just connect to this part. It would eventually help it release, I think. Maybe even faster.
Nice.
Because the regular way of going about things is like, oh, what I'm feeling now, I don't want to feel it right now, and try to stuff it somewhere.
It's like pulling against.
Yeah.
Like working against.
And wars are something that cannot go on forever. You can say, okay, I'm going to do a war for the next couple hours or for the next week, but it won't last.
Okay.
Only thing that lasts is peace. That's in my eyes.
Totally.
So when I try to make peace with this down and low or any feeling that is not comfortable to feel, it could be jealousy.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of that also on the show.
Totally.
And whatever the feeling is, just be with it.
Right.
And I think that when you accommodate it and when you feel, okay, it's okay that I feel it like this, so then it will release. It will release maybe faster.
I've also found that giving thanks. You mentioned this one time that you were in a minus and you just gave thanks for the minus.
In the bank.
Yeah. And I think that when you give thanks for where you are, for where you're holding, Thank you, thank you, Hashem, for this darkness. Thank you for it. Thank you for every challenge that I have been given. It also, to me, that's my release, that I can just say, okay, fine, this is where I am right now. I'm
Right.
acknowledging it.
Yeah.
I'm giving thanks for it because I know that this will not last.
Yeah, and also when you give thanks to Hashem, so you're not alone. Hashem
Right.
is with you.
Take my problems.
not even take my problems. I know this darkness was created especially for me,
and I can get out of it,
and for my personal growth eventually.
Right. Totally.
For my neshama's growth, maybe it's something I can't comprehend right now.
Right.
A lot of this stuff, at the time when it happens, you can't can't comprehend it. You're just sad. Like when my father passed away, I had a really long time of being upset and angry at God and all that. And when the years, they pass by, and now it's going to be like 30 years.
Wow. And yet you miss him every day.
And
you still feel him every day.
Not every day.
Not every day.
No, I don't feel him every day, but once in a while. But I feel like I'm not arguing anymore with God. Why did you take my father?
Right. Okay.
I accept it.
Right.
It might have been the best thing that happened to me that I don't really realize why, but it could have been. It's something that I say, okay, I can consider that. It could be that was really good. It could be that made things possible for me that wouldn't happen otherwise.
Interesting. Wow. Like you're saying, with perspective, time gives you more perspective on things.
Yeah. And knowing that right now, if I'm in the dark spot and I don't understand it and I'm having trouble with it, doesn't mean that it doesn't really have something for me, for the good, for the better good,
for sure.
Better good.
Anyways, I think we are coming to the end of this week's podcast.
Okay.
I think we did a good job discussing
Anne.
We did a great job.
Anne. You were a wonderful inspiration to us. We love you.
We love you, Anne.
We love also a lot of other characters that we didn't talk about this time.
We might have to do like a rerun of all the episodes. Talk about all the things that we didn't talk about. Next week, we are going to be talking about
The Simpsons.
I can already hear my mother's voice. Join us next week.
It's going to be controversial.
Oh, it is. It is. It already is going to be controversial.
Yeah. So join us.
And that's it for today.
Yeah. See you next time.
See you next episode.
Yeah.